How's
First of
everybody
all,
doing?
thank you, Retro, for having me. I appreciate you
Of course, of course.
for having me.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
Huh.
thank you for being open to it. I know we were just chatting about stream anxiety and or I guess pre-stream anxiety, pre-stream doubt. And so I appreciate you taking on something that I know for me would have added a little bit to that. So
Yeah, yeah. It, yeah, in the green room, so to speak. Retro and I were totally talking about that, and um, I struggle with the same pre-stream anxiety, and whether or not it shows up on camera, I don't know, but I usually sit there and stare at the go live button, whether it was on PS5 where I got my start, and then now I'm fucking around on the PC. Anytime that button is one click away, I just like thinking many thoughts through my head. Um, just a boatload of thoughts like, will it go well today? Will I have fun? Will anyone show up? Will I be just chatting to myself? Do people want to look at me? Do people want to look at my face? Do people want to hear me ramble over and over? Random stuff, and just all this stuff just goes through my head, and then something just like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna hit the button, and then I go, and then it's just, I don't know, I kind of just, I stop thinking about that and I start playing the game. That takes my mind away from all those thoughts. And I will say that almost every time I hit go live, it turns out to be awesome, turns out to be excellent. um, People show up, people chat, whether or not they chat for a while or just even just a one liner. I'm just thankful and for anybody even showing up. So um, it just makes my heart full and makes me happy to see people. And there are lulls in my chat, as with probably a lot of people, and that's okay. I know a lot people are still chilling, whether or not they're active in chat. And so keeping all that in mind before I go live, I don't think about that for some weird reason. Even though I know every single time before, there's always been supportive people to to hang out and watch and to chill with me. Um, so yeah, how do you deal with it, Retro? Like, do you go through any rituals, or like do you just like force your way through and just say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna hit go live"? Do you have a process?
process. I wish I did. I wish I had something to I guess, stick to and like I'm a very like once I find something that I like I'm that's it, you know. Um like food example, I for some reason anytime I go get Mexican food, I have to get fajitas. It's just like it doesn't matter where I am, that's what I get.
Mm-hmm.
Um and yeah, I don't know. I definitely am missing that piece of the pre-stream uh prep. But I guess I try to look at it as just the big picture, you know? Like I realize not all the streams are gonna be super smooth and go as well as I would like them to go, but at the end of the day, like it's one more chance to get to connect with the community and meet new friends. And so even with this, like, I'm sure we both had some lead up feelings, uh, nothing having to do with the person on the other end, but just the
Right.
situation and like it being slightly uncomfortable. But the opportunity to, you know, get to chat just you, well, not just you and me, but you and me one on one and getting uh, to touch on things in this kind of I don't know, environment just seemed like something that was worth the big picture, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I try to look at things is that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I'm glad you said it too, with having the anxiety, but not because of you. If anything, uh, you know, oh,
Sorry.
it's okay. I have poppers, no worries. Um, if anything, like if it was anyone else besides Vehan, I'm very comfortable with Vehan for obvious reasons, but like, um, just like the vibe that you give off and the environment that you foster for your community and chat made it easier to think about, like mentally preparing myself for tonight, if that makes sense. If I was chatting with someone that I may not vibe with, which I'm not gonna name any names, uh, but like if it was someone that I felt like, oh, maybe we wouldn't get along, maybe it's, maybe we would clash at some point, but um, no, being hanging out in your channel, it, the feelings or the chill vibes that you give off when you're chatting with your community feels like something that I maybe unintentionally try to do because it's just kind of me. It's like my personality. So, you know, the two of us together chatting, not only do we have things in common, games, music, etc., but just our styles, um, just made me, feel better about more at ease coming on today. So I appreciate the environment that you foster here on the Totally Retro Tech channel.
Thank you, Pete. I appreciate that. It's funny that,
Of course.
like I don't I don't ever see the I don't ever see the anxiety on screen when you go live, and you said the same thing for me, and it's just weird the mental that we put ourselves through. Like
Yeah.
I question myself sometimes on uh like if I really am creating that kind of environment, like I
Hmm.
feel like I'm taking the right steps and the right actions to do that, but there's things that come up that make you wonder, and so it's always good to hear that, especially coming from somebody like you. Means a ton.
Yeah.
uh
I want to catch up.
yeah, just I do want to let everybody know that we both super appreciate you all being here hanging out with us. Looks like Shocky got some new merch designs up on the store. Just chatting about just chatting. Mike, if we didn't want to hear you ramble, we wouldn't be here, right, chat?
Good point, Mike.
Yeah, and for anybody that's hanging out, we do have a command exclamation join, and then whatever your question is, be able to ask that as well. We've already got a couple. I mean, we might as well just get it out on the table, right?
Go on.
What is the truth of the Master Pete feat?
Let's see if I can explain this properly. Um, getting into the Souls games. Um, I'm sure everyone who plays Souls games notices this. It's whoever created these Souls games is very very fond of feet, and so it's kind of a joke and a meme for the games, and being so uh such a fan of these games, you know I made those similar jokes. um So once 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 we ended up on Twitch, Behan and then me. Behan was on Twitch first. Um, there's a bunch of people in his community. In particular, I want to say is Derp Tivo that made some sort of joke about combining me and Pheet somehow. This is kind of vague, but and it just kind of stuck, it just kind of stuck as a meme, as a channel meme, as a Vehan Peet meme. I kind of embraced it and rolled with it. And it wasn't like, because a lot of times when you're like Vehan, for example, how everyone bullies him into playing Sekiro, it kind of works, but the more he pushes back, the more people push back. And so I just kind of rolled with it. And I'm going to admit right now, I'm going to tell you all right now, I am
Oh
not
boy.
a Pheet guy when it comes to like attraction, when it comes to women or men. Not to say that I don't like Pheet. I admire them. It's a beautiful part of the human body. Um, my wife
The
is into
truth comes out.
hands. Yeah, it does. My wife is into hands. Some people are into like certain features. Um, but I am not that into Pheet.
Dang.
But I do I do find it also kind of funny. I do it for the memes, and I just kind of roll with the punches. But I don't go either way. I'm not like super attracted to them or repulsed by them. I know a lot of people kind of get repulsed by Pheet. I'm not gonna speak for everybody. Scotty's a Pheet enjoyer,
Yeah, I
but
have
like
found it's like it's a very like strict line. Like people either
yeah,
like feet or really, really don't like feet.
yeah, yeah. I do remember. I do remember being in. Speaking of Pheet,
Rin.
Rin. Um, I do remember watching Kill Bill in the theaters, and Quentin Tarantino is one of the most famous Pheet guys out there. And there's a particular scene in Kill Bill that has Uma Thurman in um, as the protagonist. Spoiler alert for this old movie, but she was put into a coma, and then coming out of the hospital, she dragged herself into a truck, but her legs weren't quite moving yet, and so she was sitting there staring at her feet, telling herself to just wiggle your pinky toe, or something like that. And I clearly remember the scene, the shot of her feet. Like her feet aren't like the most glamorous feet out there, but I clearly remember her feet showed up on screen, and a lot of the audience gasped, like audibly made had a reaction, like a visceral reaction to it. And I saw it, and it's like, okay, it's her feet. I mean, I'm not gonna be grossed out by her feet. Um, so I mean, I don't really react either way. Um, but for the memes, I find it kind of funny for the memes. Um, so I just kind of got known on Twitch as the feet guy, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna roll with this, and that's it. Um, that's about. It says he's not into feet, goes on about feet forever. True. Let me name all the feet. That's why I like Tarantino so much. God, if you like feet and if you watch any Tarantino movie, I think what was the latest one?
God, that's
Once
gonna
Upon a Time
totally
in
in Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yeah. Um, what is her name? Australian. Uh, she played Harley
Oh my
Quinn.
god, that's right. The pussy wagon, the car.
Margot Robbie. Margot
Tarantino.
Robbie. Margot Robbie had a shot of her in a theater with her feet up on the seat, and they were dirty feet. And it's just like, oh wow, he's leaning hard into it in this movie. But then
Damn, I
just
totally did not catch that. I'm gonna go through all of his movies now, and I'm
oh my god, there's so much. Like
wow.
even just shots of someone getting out of a car and just see their shoes. I mean, usually, like a lot of movies have those shots. I mean, it's not uncommon, but to have it in a Tarantino film, it just hits extra hard because it's like, oh, there's another shot of feet. Tarantino, 11 feet.
Interesting.
And if
Damn.
you've just watch, he didn't direct it. Um, From Dusk Till Dawn. Have you seen From
Yeah.
Dusk Till Dawn? The scene in the uh, the bar when Salma Hayek comes uh, onto the screen and does a little dance, and there's a whole scene of her pouring champagne down her leg, and with her foot in Tarantino's mouth, and he's drinking the champagne being poured into his mouth. He didn't direct the movie, but I bet he had some input there, and I bet they shot that scene so many times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So long story short, Shocky, I am not a feet guy.
Ed.
I I mean I don't find anything wrong with them. They are a nice Mendoza. They are a
Mendoza.
nice part of the human body. But if I were to if you were to label me as a I don't know how you say, how people are some people are feet people, some people are
Mm-hmm.
ass people, some people are boob people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably a boob guy. I would be the
Master Booba.
yeah. Just talk to my wife about that. She can confirm it. But yeah, there's the lore. It's the memes. Sorry, friends. Sorry to disappoint.
I I at least we have context now, you know. That's what matters for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Booba connoisseur. Booba aficionado. Uh oh, Bryn likes female butt. Oh my goodness.
That's a nice body part too. But it does have a nice body. It is a nice body part too. But I'm a booba guy.
Pete, you inspired me to get the Gideon moan on my channel.
um,
I had it saved and I just was trying to I was like, how what should I do with that? I thought it would be weird to just have moans as sounds, but after watching your stream, I was like, shit, people will just play moans.
I wasn't sure how that would go over. That was quite an experiment. I was just literally testing sounds on my channel to see how they would go over. Like, would people redeem uh uh you know these their channel points? Um is it set too low? Is it set too high? I don't know. I was experimenting.
I
And
thought it
chat
was
went nuts.
I thought it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Um and it's not only watching you play Dark Souls. Uh, I believe you chose a male character, right? Um,
Yeah, pretty sure I did.
I've been watching a playthrough, a first playthrough, and he also has a male character. He just gets hit constantly as one does in these games. It's just I can't get the sound out of my head. So as I was searching for sounds to add, I was like, well, Dark Souls, and then I'm like, well, this is the sound that lives in my head right now. So I'm gonna search for the Dark Souls moan. There it was.
It's so great. I oh shoot, actually, you might appreciate these. I'm surprised people haven't tried them out yet. Probably because I made them pretty expensive, but I made a Jaws slash Dark Souls inspired sound clip.
Oh.
Uh, what else? There was another one. Oh, and did you ever watch Keenan and Kel, or did you ever hear of that show?
They're the ones that did Good Burger, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they were on Nickelodeon and had their own
Hmm.
show for
Yeah.
quite a few seasons. Uh, and one of the things that was running in that show was one of the characters loved orange soda, like obsessed with orange soda. And there's this
Hmm.
whole song that he had, and I replaced orange soda with Dark Souls. Um,
Hmm.
they're
That's
both
pretty awesome.
they're both ridiculous, but they're
Awesome.
what's up, Shaki? Yes, I did. Well, I put it all together, but like the background is not. I did not make that. Also, thank you, Red. That is very true. Um, I
Yeah.
don't know how we got onto that, but
Yeah, I was also Shocky. I was also complimenting Retro on his starting soon screen. Pretty amazing, on point, on brand, and just beautiful looking. And um, I threw my shit together and like I kind of ripped something off of I believe it's called Canva. They have a bunch of preloaded starting scene screen. I just took one off of there because I once again, well, I don't know if we talked about it live, but talking about it in the green room, like putting all that effort into my own channel, it's a struggle for me sometimes. It's just like either just, you know, stop, stop, stop my ass from being lazy and getting the motivation to do it. And there's just a ton of things. Uh, I know, Retro, you touched on this, but so many things that ideas and thoughts of like, what can I do to change my channel, improve it in some way? And then I just get lost in the weeds and just like so many things, so many thoughts, and I can't sort them out. And I just end up doing nothing. Um, Part of it's laziness, part of it's like, I'm not exactly sure which exact direction I want to head.
yeah, yeah. I run into that. I mean, I still, I was mentioning to you that I kind of deal with having too many ideas floating around, but I do hit that sometimes where I just like don't have the drive to do anything channel related. Like
Yeah.
um. So yeah, I definitely feel that. It's weird. I wish that I could find the way to do it with other things, but the more I've dived into like the Souls community and my passion just in Souls, other
Mm-hmm.
things have slowly become better, like social interactions and mood.
Yeah.
I don't, God dang it, I can't remember where the heck I was going with that, but part of that is what Zay is mentioning is the creative process. Like I'd never really
Mm-hmm.
had any reason to be creative before, but um, yeah, I guess that's how I have fun with the different scenes and like the starting scene screen. Because it's like it's just a branch of Souls to me. It's
Mm-hmm.
um. So I don't know. What's up, Recycle? Good to see you, dude.
Hey, recycle.
happy Sunday or happy Monday. But yeah, just interesting. And honestly, you know, to your point too, like um it's a weird space to be because so many people are uh you know, just defensive or jaded on the internet, which I totally get. The internet's crazy. Um but the the struggle I went through like leading up to coming into the community to figure out streaming on my own was like so tough, and part of like us getting together and um you know what I think the community does, this community in particular does a really great job of is uh not leaving people not leaving people out, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm sure there's people that feel that way, but overall we do a pretty good job of making sure everybody is supported and hyped up and checked in on, which is just I don't know, still blows my mind every day. Doesn't make sense how
Yeah.
awesome it is.
Yeah, man. Well, since we're kind of talking about it, I'm curious what pushed you into streaming. I think you started, was it July 22, 2022? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it was goof. GG's on first. It's always so
Oh
funny when
shit.
people get that like 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
um,
GG goofball.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm curious how you got your start.
I well, last year, well, 2021 was just like a really not good year for me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of last year, I started therapy, and funny enough, I went on a. You may have been in one of the streams where I mentioned this story, but went on a uh, retreat with my mother in the woods, and
Mm-hmm.
we drank things that had us experience things. And yeah, after that, I had been in a really just in a place where I like didn't have any purpose or any drive. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had worked a few pretty solid jobs, uh, like in IT and the auto industry, and did not like I left those jobs miserable. Um, so I was kind of just trying to figure out like what can I do that's going to tap into what drives me and keeps me motivated, um, and is also something that I can, you know, I can grow and turn into something eventually. So that was when I got into Game Boy modding, which very quickly I realized was way too much work and not covering bills. Which it's not like Twitch necessarily does that, but uh, I decided at that point that I needed to dive into something that I felt I was even more passionate about, and that was Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, that was kind of I didn't I knew that I wanted it to turn into something, but I truly didn't think that it was going to happen the way that it has. Um, so yeah, it's been an awesome year plus. That was the very short version.
No, that's cool. That's interesting. That's interesting to know. or to hear. Cause yeah, I can't even remember when exactly did we meet. Was it in Shy's channel? Maybe.
I think
I can't.
Shy rated into you at one point,
Oh, okay.
and that kind of is what put you on my radar. And yeah, just that first time in your channel was just like, okay, all right, easy follow, super cozy. Um,
All right. Yeah, Shy. Speaking of supportive people
yeah,
on the
yeah,
in this space, one of the most supportive people I've met.
yeah. She's live right now
She's
too. I'm pretty sure.
amazing. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I. It's kind of cool because like I still rely on all of you a ton every single day. Uh, but when I first got into this, there was like I was completely on my own, diving into something that I knew I enjoyed, but I enjoyed it on my own, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and meeting people like Shy, like Rin, like you, like Shocky, like those those people, those interactions are what, like I said earlier, are what allowed me to keep pushing and keep going. Yeah, because otherwise it was me streaming by myself, playing games that you know I had interest in, but part of the love that I had with them is watching the Vadi videos and the lore breakdowns and uh the community, so finally being able to tap into that was just totally what opened up Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, chat's amazing by the
Yeah.
way, just gotta say that.
I am. Yeah, I am reading chat as it goes by. If I don't, not always. Shocky.
Pete is
I'm
not
not always.
okay.
Not always. We may not always be responding to every single chat here, but I'm seeing them, and yeah, thank you so much, chat. You guys are amazing. You did not
I
read
saw
this
retro all the
message.
time, all the channels.
Ah,
Yeah, as soon as I like honestly, as soon as I came across Shy, I was just like, okay, there's actually wholesome people in the Souls community. And then at that
mm-hmm.
point, like I just yeah, I mean, it hasn't stopped. I've just hung out in her channel and everybody else's channel pretty much every day since.
Yeah, it kind of caught me by surprise, to be honest, to find this many wholesome souls people. Um, you know, I always thought of um, online or internet gamers being toxic, just like hearing things about um, other games. Let's just say Call of Duty, for example. I hear things all the time about people doing some stupid shit and saying stupid shit to each other. Um, and then to see that the opposite in the Souls community where everyone's like super nice to each other. I'm not gonna say 100% of everyone, but I say the vast majority of people I've met, at least, they all just want to help each other at the end of the day and support each other, no matter no matter the skill level, whether it's like the best of the
Oh my
best or
Bolt's
like,
rating.
oh shit, Amanda,
Oh,
welcome in.
welcome in, Raiders. Hello, hello.
Speaking of wholesome souls people,
Seriously, right? How are you? Harry.
Amanda
Happy
Magus
Sunday, everybody. Mages.
Mendoza again. Rookie,
For
hello.
anybody in the chat that isn't following Bolt, definitely go follow her. Not only is she the best item in Bloodborne, she is super kind, has one of the greatest giggles on Twitch, uh, and can more than likely kick your ass in Bloodborne.
True.
Thank you so much for the raid, Bolt. Uh, Good old Pete and I are here just chit chatting, talking about God, stream stuff, life stuff, soul stuff, all the stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of wholesome people on Twitch
Mhm.
and Souls people, man is definitely one of the nicest that I've met. I'll probably say this about everybody, but it's true. Um, but yeah, just lurking in communities, lurking on people's channels, and seeing how much positivity there is for the most part, and seeing how much support there is. Um, and it just, it just feels great to belong to a community such as this, where everyone just tries to lift each other up. Because we all know how hard these games are. These games are brutal. And at the end of the day, we all just want to see each other succeed, whether or not we actively backseat and help, or we just watch and just cheer and support people on when they finally do the thing. It's just so amazing to see.
Yeah,
And yeah.
yeah. It's. I mean, that was. I think I joined Shy's stream when she was uh still in the middle of um Orphan, and I'm not sure how long she had been at it when I jumped in,
Hmm.
but that to me at this point in the 7 or so months that I've been streaming, that is my like most memorable community moment is when she finally got Orphan. Um
Yeah.
and yeah, I just anybody that goes through challenge runs or even just these games just casually, like how challenging they are, and
Hmm.
the the mental that you go through, kind of like beating yourself up when it's not going so smoothly. um yeah, like I can say right now that there's goat, thank you for the sub. um there's no way that I would have decided to play Sekiro or any of the other Souls games probably, um without having people around. um and I certainly would not have finished them if those people hadn't stuck around throughout it. So
Hmm.
it's a really weird but awesome uh, balance that the community keeps between one another.
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember how I found Shy too, and random, very random. It wasn't even through any Souls or Bloodborne gamer. Um, Vehan, Vehan's wife, does a history podcast. I'm gonna plug it right now, Vehan. It's called Civics and Coffee, and she's actually what inspired me to start or to try out podcasting. And
That's so cool.
anyway, I'm not trying to plug myself with the podcast, but she started her podcast journey. She was on Twitter, made a bunch of history Twitter friends, and on that list, I connected with somebody called the Tattooed Historian, and I found out he had a Twitch channel, and he generally plays games like World of Tanks, World of Warships, historical type based games, does history interviews, so on and so forth. Very history themed channel. And I was lurking. Ah, nice retro. Nice plug there. I was lurking on his channel, and he raided into Shy. And all of a sudden, I come back to the channel, and I see somebody fighting Orphan. Like, what? I wasn't following any Souls person. What happened? And then it didn't take very long for me to follow Shy and know that it was a great place to hang. And I'm with you on retro. When she finally prevailed, when she was victorious, I remember that moment clearly, and I remember the support from everybody there. I think Vehan was streaming too at the time. Yeah, he was streaming. I know that for a fact because I interrupted whatever the hell he was streaming or rambling on about and said, "Stop what you're doing right now. Shall I just beat Orphan?" And he took the time to just pop into the Shy's channel and to say congrats during his stream. So the community, by and large, has been so supportive of her, and I mean, and she's been super supportive of everyone else. So it's it's a two-way street there, but it's so great to see that such a momentous moment was shared by many people, and many people were just so happy for her. And I would have never thought something like that would happen for a game such as this. A game so brutal and so brutally hard. Yeah, it just completely blew me away to see the outpouring of support that people have for each other, no matter what challenge they're going through, no matter the challenges. And yeah, even just going through the game casually is challenging enough, you know. And I was chilling on Mikolash TV, his channel, and he was telling somebody, like he's one of the best runners I know of Dark Souls 3 in particular, but a lot of he plays Dark Souls 1 and other games as well. But he's like one of the best challenge runners that I know. And he was just saying to somebody in his chat, saying like, you know, whatever challenge you want to do, that's on you. It's up to you. Even just playing the game again with a different weapon can be a challenge in itself. You don't have to do hitless. You can do, he just kept giving examples of things that are just like not too far away from what you normally do for the base game, but it's like an approachable a way to look at challenge running in a more approachable light, because some people may think that, okay, to be a challenge runner I have to do hitless runs. That's not the case.
Yeah.
He made it very clear that you can just do anything, and it's really any challenge that you want to put forth yourself. Sure, it's basically your own challenge, and don't let anyone tell you what is good enough for a challenge. He's basically saying all that. It's good to see someone like him say that, because sometimes you forget that challenge runners that have been doing it for so long, that have been doing hitless runs for so long, it's good to see that they still know and understand that not everyone is going to find hitless runs approachable in the beginning, and to get your foot in the door in any challenge run, you could do various number of things.
Yeah.
And it's very good to see.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. That's I remember going through that with Fire Giant, and being on the fence about using the rune arcs. And all it took was people like hey, what's up, San? Welcome in. People like Recycle and Blanks and uh, Aaron. I mean, there's tons of people there. You know that it's your run. Like you make it what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And it you know to that like to what we were just kind of covering. Like it almost makes me feel like challenge runs aren't about getting through the game in a more challenging way. It's like the challenge is um yeah, I don't know. At least for me it's myself. Like being able to know that I stuck with something like that from start to finish.
Yeah.
It's more that than it is what it actually was, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um
No, it does make sense. It does make sense, actually. Yeah, because
yeah.
like anyone can learn the mechanics of a game. Anyone can study a game. Anyone can learn how to break a game, so on and so forth. But yeah, it really is the real challenge is yourself. And exactly, say, it's conquer yourself, conquer your enemy.
Yeah.
It's what I found is just making sure or being able to make sure that I can mentally do it. It's the biggest thing. It's the hardest, one of the hardest things about it. And not a lot of people talk about that. Not a lot of people talk about the mental aspect of challenge running. Um, that can in some ways be like your biggest enemy, and then your biggest hurdle. Yeah, the challenge run is hard. Yeah, the game is hard, but if you can truly climb over the mental hurdles, uh, that's you've almost won already. But I understand how very hard that can be.
Yeah. And I'm curious to that like what is your mental journey been like in this, you know, cuz for those that don't know in the chat, also chat, thank you so much. I know I'm missing um quite a bit. I appreciate you all being here, saying it's super good to see you. Happy Monday. But for those that don't know, Pete, I believe it's been a month, um, is now on Team Hitless Adept, which if you want to kind of go into um, what that is, I'm sure people can probably get a sense of Hitless, but
Yeah, yeah. So Hitless Adept. Well, let me just start with Team Hitless.
yeah,
If you're not familiar with what that is, anyone in chat. Um, well, I'm gonna scoot back a little more. I do remember getting into these games, and I remember Behan. This guy comes up a lot when I talk. The two of us are very integrated. Um, anyway, I remember him telling me there's this guy that has beaten demon souls without getting hit, and my jaw dropped to the floor. I was like, no way, this is impossible. This is fake. No way. And he showed me. He showed me the YouTube of his name is the Happy Hob. He's probably one of the more visible people in the Hitless community.
yeah, legend.
And yeah, I watched his run. I watched several of his runs and just thought, okay, there's no way I would ever do this. And years go by. Behan and I chat more and more about hitless runs. He always jokes about how I'm going to be doing them. I'm like, you're stupid, dude. There's no way I can do these. This is impossible. Um, he just kept plugging away and kept pushing that thought into my head. It wasn't until I did Bloodborne BL4, which I'm sure many people here are familiar with. Uh, Bloodborne BL4, lowest level that you could be in Bloodborne. BL4 stands for Blood Level 4. And I took it the extra step. I didn't want to just do well, I don't mean this in a bad way, like a vanilla BL4. Um, I wanted to take it to the next level. And so what I decided on was I'm going to do BL4, but of course I'm not going to wear any armor. I'm not going to use my gun. I'm not going to use any blood vials or healing items. I'm not going to use any consumables. It's just going to be me hitting the R1 button all day long. And I thought about this challenge run in my head. And I and we're going once again talking about mental hurdles. Many times I doubted myself before even starting it, saying, there's no way I can do this. No possible way. It seems super hard. BL4 is hard enough. Why would I do this? And then I did a little testing offline. I played up to the cleric beast, which is like the first boss, to see if I could just do it. BL4, no healing. And I was able to do it one time. It's like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. And then I started streaming it and got up to Shadows of Yarnum and hit a wall and then thought, fuck, can I do this? Should I continue this? And then several times just hit walls, but I kept plugging away, kept going at it. Eventually triumphed and beat the entire game BL4 with my restrictions. That felt pretty amazing, not gonna lie. And then because I did the run in the way I did, by not using any blood vials or anything, it really forced me to learn all the bosses. I mean, BL4 will make you learn the bosses anyway, but there's a little wiggle room, right? You get hit, you can heal. But if I get hit, it's pretty devastating. I can't heal in my runs. So I had to learn the bosses even more so. And then I thought, well, if I know the bosses that well, what if I try a hitless run? And then I watched a guide. I watched Goes on Ghost, also like one of the biggest challenge runners in the Bloodborne community. Goes on Ghost is amazing. Ghost put together a guide for a no hit run, and it was a little like Ghost ran through the game and explained a little bit, but it was kind of bare bones. It was kind of like, oh, I just use the pellet here, buff here, kill the boss, sort of thing. And it's so I just had to watch and emulate what Ghost did to the best of my ability. I didn't find everything that works for me, but I was able to grab enough to put together a run for myself. And so I started streaming that, and then I actually got the run offline, which I kind of wish I got online, but at the same time, I only stream twice a week. So I don't always have the opportunity to do runs. A lot of hitless runners stream a lot. And so they have a little more, they do the runs a little more often. And I didn't want to get rusty. So I did it offline and I was able to get the run. Submitted that to Team Hitless. They accepted me into the team. And then I wasn't done. I wanted to do a BL4 80% hitless run on Bloodborne. And then to give myself a mental break, this sounds kind of funny, but to give myself a mental break, I started running Dark Souls 1 hitless. And I clearly remember my first time doing Dark Souls 1 hitless. Wolfie came into my chat and he's like, this is not a mental break. What are you doing, gamer? And he was kind of right, but like I wanted a little variety.
Yeah.
But then I'm still, flexing the no hit muscles, so to speak, working those muscles out, those mental muscles. So I was still doing something adjacent to my Bloodborne run. And then, I got my BL4 run on a random day, on a random stream. And I remember this because I was drinking that day. And I remember Vehan was saying, that he was gonna stream that day too, but he was gonna be late. So I'm like, well, let me fill the time. Drunk Master Pete, this is a good idea. I'm gonna run my run while a little bit under the influence. But somehow, some way, I was able to get the BL4 run that day and then raid into Vehan into his stream. And then after that, I ran my Dark Souls run. I did a lot of that offline too, and was able to get that offline as well. And those are the 3 runs I have. And I got that 3rd run, I think around Thanksgiving, I would say. And then maybe a month later or so, I was chilling in your Discord, Retro, and I saw Recycle Bin was saying how they just got the Hitless Adept. They just joined that team or got invited to the team. I'm like, that's awesome! Congrats to you, gamer. And then I said, I remember saying in your chat, it's like, I think I just need one more run to get it, you know. And then I go back and read the rules, like actually read, because this is how I play the Souls games too. I just like speed run through dialogue and just kind of like whatever. Even my EldenRing first
Classic.
playthrough, yeah. I didn't know who most of these people were, and when I finally finished my EldenRing playthrough and people were talking about these NPCs, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I don't know. I just kind of like kill things in the games. I don't really pay attention to lore that much.
Yeah.
So when I reread the rules of what you need to do to qualify, they said the rules are a little loose, but they said you need 3 runs of a certain type. Maybe you get 3 any percents, like Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, for example. Or you do a crazy run like Bloodborne, all bosses plus DLC. Or you do a combination of Dark Souls 1, SL1, something like a lot of these different combinations. When I was, that's a little sus. When I was rereading the rules, what is going on? When I was rereading the rules, I'm like, hang on a second. I think I qualify. And then I'm like, well, I'm not sure. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't apply. There's that feeling of like, oh no, you didn't. Your runs aren't good enough, sort of thing. Again, the mental thing. But I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna contact Swed, one of the admins there. And I messaged him, and he's right away. He said, "Okay, I sent you an invite." I'm like, "That's it? That was that easy?" I thought he would be like, "Okay, let's take a look at your runs. We're gonna take a 3-week process and really look at your." And they're like, "Nah, you're good." And then I kind of thought, other thoughts that went through my head were like, "Well, if I apply to this team, does it mean I'm locked into Hitless content forever?" The quick answer was no, but I kind of thought it would pick me or put me into a hole. And again, Vehan, like he's been a good solid rock to lean on throughout all this shit. I talked to him about it, and he said, "I know you, Master Pete. You're gonna be playing these games forever, and you're not gonna have a problem pushing out or doing hitless content forever. You're gonna play these games. I know how much you love these games. It's not going to be an issue." And I'm like, "You're right." And he also made up a good point too, that it doesn't mean I'm locked into this kind of content, because I've seen other hitless runners take breaks, take mental breaks, play other games, and they may even take a long extended break, or they may never come back to it, and that's fine too. But it still doesn't take away the title or joining the team. And so if it wasn't clear, Hitless, there's Team Hitless, right? It's any Soulsborne game or FromSoft game, primarily those games, you can get a no-hit run on. They've since added more games. Sorry, I'm just kind of glancing at chat.
Oh, you're good.
They've added more games, so like there's Resident Evil, there's Hollow Knight, so there's those games too. But I think it all stemmed from the Souls games, and they've added more games as they've gone along. But when I say primarily, that's what I mean, where it's their focus is their start and focus was, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, EldenRing. And so you just need a hit list in one of those games to join the team. But if you continue your hitless journey and you get 3 hitless runs of a certain type, you can join the Adept team. And that's just the next level of hitless, where I think it's meant for the runners, the hitless runners that continue their hitless journey, versus some people do their hitless, get one hitless run and do something else, which is fine too. It's all acceptable. It's all kosher. Nobody judges anybody for however far they want to take it. So yeah, I've just joined Hitless Adept as of a few weeks ago, if not a month ago, and I'm not gonna lie, it feels kind of strange because I'm so used to seeing that team name under someone like Mikolash, and Swed and Perpetual Resurrection. There's a bunch of streamers I follow that have that team under their name, and I've always looked up to them. I still do. And to now be a part of the same team doesn't make sense in my head. And it kind of, here's the mental game again. It kind of feels like, well, how am I a part of the same team as they are? Like they're far superior runners than me. They're better. They have more experience. But I don't think anyone really looks at it like that except myself, like,
Yeah.
Again, it's the mental game of, am I good enough? Can I do this? And as I was going through my entire hitless journey, I question that every day. It's like, am I good enough to get a hitless run? Can I do this? And after I got my first one, then I thought, maybe I got lucky. Maybe I got lucky. I need another one to prove my worth. And then when I got my BL4 one, it's like, well, this is just one game. Then maybe I should get another game to show that I can do it in another game. And I did that. And then now I'm in the same cycle of like, am I good enough? But I shouldn't look at it like that. And nobody should look at it like that. And I've said this time and time again, and I need to take my own advice, where it is my own journey. It is my challenge run. It is my mountain to climb. And I should never compare myself to others. Everyone else is on their own journey. I know you, Retro, you're doing challenge runs. You're doing, I think you're doing an accidental challenge run too with Sekiro, if I'm not mistaken. You rang the demon bell, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that myself too, where I've just like, my first playthrough, I do something that makes the game harder on accident. It's like, well, I'm sticking with it now. But yeah, I just need to keep it in my head that I shouldn't compare. Because I keep thinking like, I'm not as good as someone else, but I'm on my own journey. These are my challenge runs. There's no reason for me to get more runs than anyone else. It's not about anyone else. It's about like me, it's my personal journey, and I should realize and remember that um, I don't need to get these runs quickly. I don't need to get these runs to prove anything to anyone except for just making myself happy and just to fulfill my challenge run and fulfill my needs. And it's hard to remember that sometimes. And yeah, as I was alluding to earlier, as I was talking about, anyone can learn how to do these runs. Like the gameplay, learning the gameplay isn't the hardest part. It's the mental part. Like me thinking to myself that maybe I'm not good enough to do these runs. Every time I get hit, it's just like it's kind of weird, but every time I got hit, I felt like the worst gamer in the world. Whereas, like, okay, calm down, Master Pete. You're doing a hard run in a hard game. So take a look, take a step back, get some perspective, and just know that, it's me giving myself a pep talk, but Pete, just know that you can do this. Just keep grinding. Um, and everyone in the community, like I have these thoughts too, like when I part of, the go live anxiety, thoughts of like, oh God, if I don't PB today, everyone's gonna know I'm a fake gamer. Like kind of that kind of thought in my head.
Yeah.
Um, but it's okay to not do well that day. And I know it kind of feels uncomfortable for me in the moment when that happens, but I hope anyone watching knows that uh, that's how the journey goes. It's not always going to be PB every day. It's not always going to be great. It's going to be ups and downs. And it's okay to have those bad days. Anyway, long story short, Hitless Adept. I joined the team a few weeks ago, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I don't see any signs of not doing Hitless content in the near future. I love it. I love doing it. As cursed as it can be, and as as tough as it can be sometimes mentally, I still see myself doing it. So being a part of Adept makes sense. Um, but yeah, that's me and my journey.
That's fucking awesome. It's funny you ended that by saying it just made sense, and um, I don't think I realized until you joined exactly what the difference was between Hitless and Hitless Adept. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's funny hearing you talk about your experience and how seeing that little name next to your name and comparing yourself to people like Miko. Because I mean I go through the same thing, and I'm sure a lot of people in chat go through the same thing as well. And uh, yeah, I can confidently say it's people like you and people like Miko um, that are authentic through those runs that make it so approachable for newer people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's yeah, I don't know. I've definitely gone through that, but you know, uh, just getting to connect with guys like you and other people throughout the community um that go through that mental piece of it among all the other pieces. Um, yeah, I'm sure everybody has um that battle.
Yeah, everybody, the best of the best runners, and you're welcome, TFC. But like, um, what was this? Dino Syndicile, another prominent member of the Hitless community, amazing challenge runner. I watched one of his guides too for Dark Souls, very detailed. But he recently got the God Run 3, and if you don't know what that is, it is beating Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, EldenRing, all back to back, in whatever order you want, without getting hit a single time. Every single game. Mine, it's like, how? How does someone do this? And he did it, and someone interviewed him and said, he said the exact same thing that I said. Um, and when I read his words, it inspired me because he said, uh, the mental game is the most challenging thing. Like he had doubts about himself. Like he thought he couldn't do this. So it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey, whether you're an experienced runner like Dino Singile, whether you're even thinking about doing any challenge run, getting over the mental hurdles of can I do this is really the hardest part.
Yeah.
And I encourage anyone thinking about a challenge run, or I mean, even if you don't play a Souls game and you're thinking about picking up a Souls game, that's challenging in and of itself. I encourage you to try it, and it's gonna be tough. And no matter what you do, no matter what challenge run you do, um, just know that with enough persistence and believing in yourself, and you can definitely do it. Anyone can do it, and we all, go through them at different rates, different paces, different skill levels. But really, we all get through them at some point. Um, and it's so cool to see your runs, Retro, and to see you go through, like, even just first playthroughs. Like I said, even first playthroughs are challenging. And to see you progress and to see, I think I've told you this before, but to see, like, let me give you an example of the Nameless King. Watching you walk in there for the first time, just get absolutely slaughtered so many times. And then little by little, you start picking up on the move sets. You start lasting longer in the fights. You start getting to phase 2 consistently. And then finally finally seeing you triumph. Seeing that progression from noob to victory is amazing. And we all love to see it, no matter where any of us are. Like I've played DS3 many times over, and it was exciting for me to see. There may be someone who's never played Dark Souls 3 that was watching you. I bet they were excited to see you be victorious, and there could be someone anywhere in between to see it. We all just love these games so much that it's not like, okay, look at me, I'm a hitless runner, I'm only gonna watch hitless content. It's not the case. We just love watching Souls content, no matter where it is in the journey. Um, yeah, I personally do love hitless runs, but I do love first playthroughs as well, and challenge runs such as your RL1 run in EldenRing. Um, it's just so fun to see people play these games, and I still learn things. I still learn things to this day from people's playthroughs, whether it be Chai playing Bloodborne, you playing your runs, Vehan playing his Sekiro um, first playthrough. I hope he sticks with it. If you're still a Vahon, stick with it, please. I've seen Shocky play Souls a few times. Recycle, I see you pop up in the chat, but seeing his enthusiasm and his runs for EldenRing, amazing. It's
Yeah.
all good to see.
Yeah.
We all love to see it.
Yeah. It's I don't. It's really interesting. Like there's like emotions that you experience going through challenge runs that there's some people that can take those and uh take their experiences and their emotions and feelings that they get in that moment and be constructive with them, or they can be what's the right word? Just the first thing that comes to mind is egotistical.
Yeah.
And there's just like a real genuine pride amongst everybody of like getting to share those experiences, whether it's the first time playthrough or the challenge run victory or the hitless run completion. Like yeah, I don't know. I my mom luckily was very adamant growing up about expressing gratitude, and I don't think that I have felt more of it in the last 6 or 7 months than I have ever combined. Like it's like every day, every stream, there's some person, some situation that is just a reminder of how awesome the community is and what keeps the community so close. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I
It's
kind of went off there,
beautiful
but
to see. No, it's beautiful to see. And it's, yeah, you do could bring up a good point. Sometimes it's just it's nice to see just people cheering other people on. Anyone that's like in your chat cheering you on, just cool to see. Um, what I want to know is about you. I know you have your love of the Souls games kind of pushed you into the Twitch land, shall we say? Um, what pushed you towards challenge running? Like, what was your first challenge run? Was it an SL1? I can't quite remember.
it is it's the RL one.
RL1. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, I I mean, the biggest influence has been connecting with people like you and Blanks and Recycle and uh I think initially, even though uh I had gotten into the community from Shy's channel and she was doing a BL4, a lot of the people that I watched weren't doing challenge runs and speed runs and stuff. It was
Mhm.
a lot of like first plays and um so I think once I started just hanging around your channel and Blanks and uh there was that initial fear of uh taking a game that's already challenging and making it more challenging automatically means that the people that do that are really mean and aggressive. um so as soon as I realized that that was not the case, you know, I guess I was in a place or I was in an environment where I could actually safely feel like, hey, I could maybe consider trying this at some point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Versus being in another environment where, you are dealing with people that are shitty and, you don't have any confidence that you can do it. Like, um, which was kind of the place I was in by myself. Was just constantly tearing down. Um, so, but the no, what was it? Fist only Gundyr was, I think,
Right.
yeah, that was like the event that got wheels turning a bit, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so Shocky, you're not too wrong thinking it was Dark Souls 3 was where
Yeah,
he got his challenge run training wheels.
yeah,
That's what I vaguely remember too. It's like, oh, Elden Ring was really your first challenge run. But then um also I do want to say that your Dark Souls 3 first playthrough, you didn't use the best weapon. So once again, you accidentally did a challenge run there. You accidentally nerfed yourself and you made the game harder on yourself. So your victories were that much more sweet.
yeah. And I definitely can say that, the way that I've gone with the games post Elden Ring, uh,
Mm-hmm.
has made me walk away appreciating them that much more.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that I chose like the Great Scythe. At the time, I was, obviously, it was a little rocky, but the big picture once again, it was definitely well worth the process.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Um, I know I had some actual questions for you. So I am curious. You have a very rich uh knowledge of music and seems like just entertainment in general.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, what is Master Pete's favorite movie?
Okay. This one's kind of tough because I have two answers.
Okay,
um
we'll accept both.
I think I would go there's two of them.
Thank you, Danny.
Um one of them would be Big Trouble in Little China. It's a shoot, did that come out in the 90s or 80s? Can't quite remember, but it was from my childhood. It's directed by John Carpenter. And
Ooh,
John Carpenter is primarily known for Halloween,
yeah.
and he's also known for composing his own soundtracks. And if anyone remembers his soundtracks, they're very synthy. Late 1980s, thank you, Cooley. It was very synth driven. Um, it wasn't. I can't. I don't believe it was a stylistic choice. I think it was budgetary. It's like, well, I don't have much money to spend on a movie. I'm just gonna compose my shit on a keyboard, sort of thing, a synthesizer, and keep the cost down that way. And a lot of that music that he wrote back then is now synthwave today. Anyway, Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorite movies from my childhood. I remember recording it on a. You all know what a VHS tape is? Old ass brick of a physical media that you pop into a VCR to watch your movies. They used to play that movie on TV, and I recorded it off the TV. And all these fucking commercials are in it. So what I did was I transferred it to a new tape and I cut the commercials out. And that was a whole
Genius.
process back then. Yeah. um, wore out that damn tape. I love that movie so much. Um, Another movie I really love is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh,
I have a clear memory of, for some reason, well, okay, so seeing the trailers for it seeing all the behind the scenes uh, uh, spotlights and features of specifically the special effects of seeing like the T1000 transform was like so cool. And for some reason, I wasn't able to see it release day. Maybe a week or two later, my dad took me to see it. And me and my dad never watch movies together in that way. He never goes to the theater. He was not really interested in Western cinema as much. My parents are Vietnamese immigrants, refugees from the Vietnam War. And they didn't have that much interest in going out to the movies. They generally stuck to watching, TV at home or going to the local video rental store. And it was specifically Vietnamese ones. And they would carry all these Vietnamese films. And those are the kinds of movies my parents would watch. I would usually go to the movies with, my brother or sister, my cousins, etc., the younger generation. So my dad saw that. I made it very clear to my dad I was so excited. I really wanted to see this movie, so he decided to take me. And my mind was blown. It was amazing. The movie was awesome. The special effects were awesome. The movie was a little long because I remember by the end of it, I had to pee so bad, but I didn't want to leave. Didn't want to miss a minute of the movie. And that movie has a special place in my heart, not only because it's amazing, but it is a memory I have with my dad, who has, he passed away several years ago. I want to say, has it been that long? It's been almost 20 years, and I can't believe it, that he's been gone that long. So yeah, when I was little-ish kiddo, right, Scotty? Big Trouble in Little China. Had really cool martial arts action. It is a little cheesy by today's standards. Like watching it today, I'm sure if someone new to the movie of a younger generation sees it, they may think it's a little corny, cornball. And I get it. I understand, but I love it. And then like Terminator 2, it's like way more serious. It does have moments of humor too, but that's still one of my favorite movies. I can still watch either of those movies over and over and over again. What about you, Retro? What's your favorite film?
Well, first I have to say Terminator 2 is definitely up there in most viewed movies for me. Like,
Hell yeah.
such a great movie. Oh. Um That's really tough.
Yeah, that's why I had to give you two answers. I couldn't just give you one.
So I would have to say one would be Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
Because that was apparently I was taken to that movie at 3 years old. Obviously, I don't recall that. But it was my first movie, and it is easily the movie I've watched the most times. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that really is close to that. I will say
Go ahead.
What were you saying?
I'm just curious what you have thought of any of the following sequels. Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and then the new ones with Chris Pratt.
may lose friends here. So, quick take is the first three have become even better with the new ones out.
Mm-hmm.
And uh the first one, like Jurassic World, the first one was, I
Yeah.
think, really done well as like the, what was it, 20 year 20-year return or something like that to the franchise. I thought it was a really awesome movie, and I've rewatched that one quite a few times. But the third one, is it the third one? Yeah, third one, right? The Dominion, that's the most recent one,
Like, yeah,
I
I
think.
believe so. I haven't. I don't think I've seen the that movie.
Gotcha. Yeah, the the most recent two are not that great, and
Mm-hmm.
the most recent I actually was considering walking out of.
Wow.
Yeah, which I haven't walked out of a movie since The Ring 2. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, yeah, for me at least, of course, the original is the best one, but everything since then has just not even come close, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then
I
seeing the reboot or whatever with Chris Pratt is like cool. It's like, hey, we did it again, except there's a hella bigger dinosaur. Like, come on, you
yeah.
got ideas. It was still fun to see people farting around with dinosaurs. I'm not gonna lie, but still was didn't hold up to
Yeah.
um, the original.
And the fact, like, the original, still to this day, like, I don't care what anybody says, the original movie looks better than all of the others. All of
Yeah,
them. And it's all because of the animatronics that they did. Like,
yeah, yeah.
not the
That's
same.
yeah. I uh I recently watched a not a film I really recommend unless you have very specific interest. A movie called Terrifier.
Oh yeah.
And it's a horror film featuring Art the Clown, um, and it's essentially this crazed serial killer or what do they call it, slasher movie, very gory and violent. What I appreciated about it is the practical effects. Um, like they actually used, you know, uh, physical molds of gore uh, instead of going computer generated route. And still to this day, no matter how good it looks, no matter how much they advance the technology to make computer generated gore or any effects for that matter, to your point, Jurassic Park, the practical effects just something about it just looks so good. It's like so much more real.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um,
Um,
hmm.
yeah, like similar to the Jurassic Park franchise, anything they keep trying to do with the Terminator franchise, I'm just like, not again. They're doing it, they're trying it again.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I'll watch it because I'm just maybe there's a small chance that it'll hold a candle to the first two films and it just never lives up to it, no matter how hard they try.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about good series, or at least in my opinion. And I was thinking of what the last movie was that I saw with my dad, uh, which I'm pretty sure was me dragging him to see John Wick 2. And like the day before, I had made him watch John Wick 1.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he was just so hyped to go see the follow up.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
but those are, I don't know. I probably like from a actual professional acting standpoint aren't the greatest movies, but they hit all my check boxes. So
Yeah, true. Like, yeah, even looking back on Big Trouble in Little China, it wasn't super well acted. I mean, there were some good performances, but like, I don't know, it adds to that. It adds to it in a way, that corny cheeseball
hmm
factor. You just can't. You just can't like. You can't always quantify, and so yeah, seeing Keanu Reeves act like Keanu Reeves in those movies really adds something to it. Like I don't see anyone else playing that role. Um, it could be like the actoriest actor ever. Like I can't think of an example. I don't know. Benedict Cumberbatch, excellent actor. But I feel like he'd be too good. Like when Keanu Reeves delivers those lines, it just something about it hits a certain way that
yeah,
um, you can't capture it with just like acting skills. It's almost lack of acting skill that brings that out. And I love
it's
those
funny
movies.
you mentioned that because there's a similar plot. I think it was called Happy with the guy that does Better Call Saul. What's his name? Shit.
Was it
It's Saul, the main guy.
the movie
Um,
was called Nobody, right?
oh, that's
Bob.
right. Nobody. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, rookie. Yeah, Bob Odenkirk.
Odin. Yep. Okay, that's it.
Also apparently a
Um,
feet guy, in case you wanted to know.
that was actually one of those times where I went into that thinking this is gonna be just a straight John Wick ripoff, which it
Yeah,
was, but it
yeah,
somehow worked.
hmm yeah.
Like
I
I don't
agree.
know how he pulled off that John Wickiness, but he did it.
Yeah, I had very low expectations for that. Very similar to you. It's like, okay, he's trying to be John Wick. Let's see how this goes. And I didn't mind it. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, so one thing I want to say is I don't know when your cutoff is. So at any point when Master Peets needs to get the Master Sleeps, just let me know.
I will, no problem.
Cool.
Um,
Uh, knowing these actors and stuff with feet personalities.
very plugged into the Pheet Lore.
Star Wars Episode 3 and Treasure Planet, my two favorites.
Interesting that you chose episode 3, Chalky. Um, if we're talking
That
about,
is
well, I
interesting.
guess we're talking about Star Wars now. Episode 5 is mine. Empire Strikes Back. Um,
Yeah, I can't go wrong with that one.
we'll go down a slight rabbit hole here, but Vehan talks about this too. Again, I keep talking about this fucker, about this guy. I don't know why, but he tells the story that I enjoy every time about how he met this group of younger folks and how they would talk about the Star Wars trilogy, and it eventually would come out that you know the trilogy they were referencing is 1, 2, 3, and their feelings on the original trilogy 4, 5, and 6 are not so favorable. And so it hurts his heart. And there he goes. It hurts his soul every time he sees that happen. But it just goes to show that it's just it's kind of it's a generational thing, and they grew up with the new trilogy, and so like me and Vehan being olds, we grew up with. I think the original trilogy for us was slightly before our time. Like those movies were already a part of pop culture when
Yeah.
I was growing up. I never had the chance to see them in theaters on original release. When they re-released them with extra special effects or whatever, I was able to see it in a theater for the first time, which was pretty cool. Um, anyway, so a lot of different generations, different generation grew up with the new trilogy, um, and it's interesting to see people's entry points into the Star Wars series and the generational differences. And there's this podcast that I used to listen to that talked about. It was a very LGBTQ focused Star Wars podcast. Like the entire panel was made up of LGBTQ plus, and their perspective on Star Wars was so interesting. I never would think of it that way. Um, and I'll give you an example in a second, but there were some people in that panel that couldn't get into Star Wars at all until, let's say, what was the property? It was the animated series, the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Yeah. First a movie and then turned into a series, and they were saying the reason why is because they really didn't see themselves in any of the characters in Star Wars. Um, and so I think it was Ashoka that somehow brought that person into Star Wars. Um,
Hmm.
and then they were also talking about the Mandalorian, and if anyone's not familiar with the series, the Mandalorian is about this helmeted pseudo armor dude, and he keeps his helmet on at all times. Doesn't want to reveal his true self. And the podcast was saying that is a very uh, transgender lens. They're looking at it from that point of view, where the transgender people in that panel were saying too that they have a certain mask that they have on the outside. They don't want to reveal themselves from the inside, or they're scared to, is what I should say. They're scared to reveal their true self. Like, what happens when I reveal my true self to everybody? Um, I found that so fascinating. The different approaches and the different way people watch these movies, and the different things that the different movies give to everybody. And I may not be a fan of the newest trilogy, 7, 8, 9. In fact, I've only seen 7 and 8, and I just kind of fell off the map there with that series of movies. But I also understand the representation that they were going for, that they achieved with having Rey as a character, Oscar Isaac's character, I forget his name, I think it's Poe. Um, who played um, who played the guy that the Finn? Is it Finn? Am I remembering this correctly? Anyway, the characters are actors of color, more underrepresented people of the community. John Boyega, thank you. And I see the importance of representation and making Star Wars a more inclusive place. And I don't know what the point of all of this is, but I just thought Jockey just made me think of like, oh, he chose episode 3. Most people choose episode 5, but only because I think the older generation are in the original trilogy and stuck in the original trilogy is the best. And I've already come to come to the conclusion or face the facts that not everyone's gonna love the original trilogy the way many people that grew up with it do. They are older movies. I understand that.
Yeah.
I do love them, but they're older.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess
I don't- yeah.
I've always been in a camp of like it would really frustrate me to have seen like either 7 through 9 or 1 through 3 without having seen the previous.
Mm-hmm.
Um like I always look at it as a um one as a contextual thing, like just having the background and the context. And two, like if it wasn't for the originals, there wouldn't be, 1 through 3 and 7 through 9. So um
Yeah,
I don't know. But
yeah,
I guess I could
I
say
get that too.
I don't have the same approach for other things in life. So it kind of is on and off. Um it is super interesting though. Like you do see that in the Souls community too, with like people not bandwagoning, but people piling up on DS2, like
Oh,
saying
true.
DS2 is a terrible game, and um
Oh my God, should we start that discussion? That's a huge can of worms. I always
yeah,
like enjoy opening up the a bag of proverbial popcorn when I see anybody's chat just start diving into Dark Souls 1 is trash. No, Dark Souls 2 is trash. Dark Souls 3 is fan servicey. It's just like, oh my God, are we doing this again? It
yeah.
happens so much.
I just look at it as all Souls content that I get to absorb at some point,
Yeah,
whether it's
yeah,
good or not, or easy or not. Like, but I I,
yeah.
I do get having strong opinions. I certainly do in some things. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Agree. Of course.
but for a
Um,
community that's so welcoming and kind, just I don't know. There's other battles that are worth having in other places versus
yeah,
Sekiro or whatever.
yeah. But yeah, I get the community is passionate. Um, and personally, I love all of them. I love all of them. There's certain ones that I hold higher than the others, but I could play any of them and have a great time.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't think have you got no, you have not gotten through all of them because you haven't finished your Bloodborne playthrough, only because of
Yeah.
technology and Sony being a jackass. But um, and then Demon Souls, of course, I don't I don't believe you have access to play that yet. But you've gone through a good amount of them, like so far. Could you rank them what you've played so far, or is it too early to tell?
Uh, no, I probably could. I think I have the first three, and then after that, it's kind of easy. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
number one is still and will forever be Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
Um, two is Sekiro. Um, three is tough. Three is very close between DS3 and Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, probably go Elden Ring, DS3, DS1, DS2.
Okay. Very fair.
But I feel bad because DS2 is at the bottom of the list, but it's not like I dislike it.
Yeah, don't feel bad. There's got to be something at the bottom.
Yeah, true. That's a good way to put it. I do. Somebody I can't remember. I think it was Shocky. Uh, mentioned that there had been a couple questions that people had thrown into the queue.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, so I don't think that we're gonna see Master Pete's feet, Behan. Um,
I think that there's very specific stretch goals that I have in my head for you to see that. For you to see my feet.
uh, oh, okay. So what are your top 5 games of all time, not including Souls games? And while you answer
My
that, I'm going to uh, calmly walk to the bathroom
okay.
and use the restroom. But feel
Okay.
free to dive in.
Right on. Wow. Top 5 games that are not Souls. That is really tough. I guess, let's see. I'm not sure if I can put Superman 64. Um, fuck. I guess I would have to put Hollow Knight up there pretty high. Is that what you're gonna say, Vay? Hollow Knight? Yeah, I think I would go Hollow Knight with as like one of my favorite non-Souls, non-FromSoft games, specifically because when I was starting my Souls journey, um, Demon Souls and then Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 frustrated the shit out of me. My first playthrough, I got to Blight Town. I think everyone knows Blight Town. And I got lost. I kept dying. I just got pissed off. So it to take my mind off of it, I played Hollow Knight. And I think 15 FPS town, true. Um, I think I may have taken a month off of Dark Souls and I played the shit out of Hollow Knight. And then I went back to Dark Souls and finished my playthrough. But Hollow Knight has a very, very special place in my heart. So I'd rank that somewhere near the top. That's one. Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure if many people know me for playing this game or talking about this game. Vehan knows I talk about this game all the time, but Breath of the Wild was one of my favorite games, is one of my favorite games, specifically because I think it's one of the first games I played on the Nintendo Switch. Uh, that and Super Mario Odyssey, and it was a birthday gift from my wife, the Nintendo Switch. And at that point in my life, I think I wasn't playing as many games. I was busy just doing real life stuff, work, and um, so on and so forth. And so Breath of the Wild kind of brought me back into a ton of gaming. Because, like, once I played that game and finished it, um, I think I put about 100 hours into that game. I was thirsty for more games. Um, and so this is kind of I might talk about this again, but it bled into that's kind of what led me into the Soul series. I'll get back to that. Um, that's 2. I need 3 more, huh? A huge landmark game in my life would have to be Street Fighter 2. All right, Scotty. Have a great night. Rest
Good night,
well.
Scotty. Get some good sleep.
And hope work goes well to you. Hope work goes well for you tomorrow. Have a good day at work. Um, Street Fighter 2 is really the only reason I bought, or well, I mean, I was too young to really have money, but the only real reason I acquired a Super Nintendo is because of Street Fighter 2. I remember borrowing a Super Nintendo and Street Fighter 2 from my brother's friend, and I just could not put it down. Number 4 would probably be number 4 and 5 are going to be very similar, but number 4 would be Super Mario or Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64, another system I bought solely for one game, really. And that was the first, probably the first 3D platforming game, at least for me. It just blew my mind. It was just so well done, moving Mario from 2D to 3D. And finally, number 5, the original Super Mario Brothers, is another reason I got a Nintendo Entertainment System to play that game. So to recap, the games kind of align with like certain like memorable events or what have you. Mario Brothers probably began my gaming obsession on the Nintendo. Street Fighter 2, Super NES, Mario 64, the Nintendo 64, Breath of the Wild, which got me back into gaming a bunch, and Hollow Knight, which gave me a great mental break while playing Dark Souls. But picking 5, that's really tough. I did leave a ton of games out. That's how I would rank.
Just picturing a break from Dark Souls to dive into Hollow Knight is madness. that is my Sekiro, like my Sekiro. I if I never stream that game again, I don't think I would have a problem.
Did you stream it? Did I miss
I
it?
did, but I think part of going back to like the generations and the different circumstances and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was streaming that game at the very beginning of me streaming, and it was just between performance issues and audio issues and just lack of streaming experience. It was like, and then I was playing that game, which was the first platformer I had played in well over a decade.
Wow.
It was rough, but I'll probably give it another go at some point. I will say I am kind of excited to get through the first playthroughs because I feel like I've just been so focused on those that a lot of other, like potentially doing like 2 challenge runs at once is not an option type of thing. But I also feel like it'll open up the channel a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to play The Last of Us. I still have not played that.
That's a good one. I think I played that for the first time 1 or 2 years ago. Probably about 2 years. Oh, maybe even 3. 2-3 years ago. And that was a nice break between Souls games.
Yeah.
I should do that more often, but like I'm always driven back to Souls. I mean, just look at my streaming habits. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this first playthrough of God of War. I stream it like 2 or 3 times, and it's like, I want to play Souls, and then I just go back to Souls, and I've left my God of War playthrough hanging in the air. But The Last of Us is good. I just started watching the show today. Excellent
Yeah,
first episode.
I've heard really good things, and I put up a vote last week, where pretty much everybody said to just watch the show and then play the game, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to take in the words of a couple people that were like, you should play the game. You'll still appreciate the show, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently the game just hits different. So I'm considering getting PlayStation Plus again so that I can do that. But I also noticed the first Last of Us is coming onto Steam in a few weeks, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But
Yeah, maybe you should just wait. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is for that. I've only seen the first episode, and I've played the game prior, so yeah, it'd be interesting to go the opposite way. Start watching the show and playing the game.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm not clear or certain how closely they're going to follow. I'm only one episode in, but I'm not certain how closely they're going to follow the plot of the game. I think it seems to be overall, at least the overall plot is similar, um, with a few more story bits, because I mean the game had a ton of like gameplay moments, right? Just you just farting around in the game, and they can't exactly show that. That's not very cinematic, so they fill in the
right.
gaps. Um, I'm wondering if they are going to take the show in a slightly different direction, just so that there's surprises for um, people who are fans of the game and the show. So there's a different experience. I think
Yeah,
it's fairly common that happens. Like if you take the Walking Dead, for example, I've seen. I didn't. I kind of dropped off watching that show, but when I was watching that show, um, I did read the comic books, some of the comic books afterwards, and they're very different. Some, they share a lot of the same characters, but either the personality of the characters or what happens to the characters, even, they diverge, just so they give a different experience. I think Game of Thrones wasn't too far off, but they did make some changes. So, book readers and show enjoyers can have different experiences. So I wonder if it'll be the same for the show, The Last of Us. Um, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is for you, to whether or not to watch the show first or to play the game first. But whatever you decide to do, I think you'll have fun either way.
I think that's like for me. It would be easier to just watch the show first because I'm the same way as you, where I will start a game and then I'm at DS2, even though it's a Souls game. Like
Uh-huh.
I was definitely more excited about playing Sekiro first, but because I had already done 1 and 3, I was like, I might as well do 2, knock it out. Um, so I totally relate with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm afraid of happening, is starting The Last of Us and then getting bored with it. But I think, hold on, let me see. Shocky. When's the Ace Combat streams, Vay and Pete?
I mean, I own the game. I did buy it because of Shocky was hyping it up so much, and it was on sale. So it's like, okay, let's buy it. But I have not even fired it up because I think a lot of us gamers are like this too, where we just have this backlog of shame that we just can't get through all the games. Like I'm trying my hardest, but it's a fine line to walk. Hello, Dad. Welcome in.
Dead.
But like it's kind of like, do I practice hitless runs? Do I play a non-Souls game? Do I be productive? Do I edit the podcast? Do I watch Twitch streams? Do I watch a movie? Like it's just like, man, what do I do? I know my backlog needs work, and I've tried it. I am making some small progress. Like recently, I picked up Metroid Dread from the library because I'm cheap, cheap like that. But I fired it up the other day and had a ton of fun. It's a great game, but
That's the
like,
one on the Switch, right?
yeah, it's on the Switch. But it's like, fuck, I really should. After my run on Saturday, I'm like, shit, that didn't go that well. Maybe I should practice a little more to keep the run fresh in my head. But then at the same time, if I do that too much, I could just you know, wear on me mentally. So I kind of need um sometimes I need a break. So,
Yeah.
but eventually it always draws me back in. It's okay, Dad, that you missed Saturday. It didn't go that well anyway. Don't worry about it. Next time. Um, but yeah, I hope you do play it at some point. Uh, but I get it. Like when I'm playing Souls, that's all I want to play. And I'm pretty. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of envious of your journey because a lot of Souls players share the sentiment of wishing that if I could forget the games and play them first playthrough again, that'd be awesome. I would love to do that. Um, I think that may be how a lot of these challenge runs were born, because um, Souls players are looking for different ways to get a fresh playthrough of the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it does almost feel like playing the game, uh, uh, a whole new game when you're doing a crazy challenge run.
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's why I think you know I know that we both relate on this, and I'm sure a lot of people in chat do as well. But that's why we all enjoy watching people go through their first playthroughs so much, because it's you can't go through that again.
Yeah.
Life, welcome in. Thank you for the
Welcome in,
raid.
Raiders. What's up?
But yeah, you can't get that first time playthrough experience back. Um, and I remember, like, as soon as I got done beating EldenRing for the first time, this was way before streaming. Um, I sat in my chair and was like, okay, what do I do now? And I think same day was watching people going through their first playthroughs. Um, so yeah, and I definitely can see those challenge runs just giving you a sense of that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that myself too. Finishing a Souls game and then immediately looking for other people's first playthroughs. Like Dark Souls 3 was that way. From Dark Souls 3, I have a memory of this. Finishing Dark Souls 3, going onto Twitch, looking for someone streaming it for the first time. And a streamer I follow, it's been a few years actually. His name is System1173, and I hung out there so much he made me a mod. But chill dude, totally cool dude, playing his first Dark Souls 3 playthrough. And it's I was just thinking about the other day how weird that sequence of events was. Like, I finished Dark Souls 3, and I specifically sought out a Dark Souls 3 first playthrough at that exact moment on that day. And I just happened to click on him. And I've been in his stream ever since. Like, it was a completely random occurrence. Like, I didn't find him any other way. He wasn't recommended to me because he was new. It wasn't a raid or anything like that. I just found him organically, and um, crazy how that stuff like that works. And um, very happy to be on his channel, no matter what he plays, but especially when he plays Souls games. He's on his Dark Souls 1 playthrough right now, his first Dark Souls 1 playthrough. And it's just so satisfying to see him go through that game. And funny enough, he did almost the exact same thing you did, where he went down into the graveyard, into
Oh,
the like catacombs, into the tomb of the giants. And I was like, my whole time just sitting on my hands, like, don't tell him that he's going to hit a wall. And he finally gets there, and he's like, okay, I'm ready to go into this fog wall. Let's fight this boss. And he hits the button that says sealed by Great Lord's power or some shit. And he's like, what? What? And then just like you, he had to go all the way out and make his way out of the Tomb of the Giants and the catacombs, etc., backwards. And it's brutal. It is brutal. And time again, Jockey said this best. Dark Souls has god tier level design, but it's a bully for very mean to first time players.
yeah.
Um, I guess I was kind of lucky on my first playthrough. Like, I tried to venture into that area and I got killed immediately. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not going that way. Fuck that. But some people just, like, keep on at it. And I ended up going the quote unquote correct way. But I had my own share of cursed gameplay with that game, because literally, this probably happened. I think it did happen to you, where I got cursed, and then realizing that what it means, and being permanently nerfed. I was like, no way, this is a thing in the game.
Yeah.
I was so upset, and then I climbed my way out of. I think it was the depths. Yeah, it was the depths. I climbed my way out of the depths to look for the female undead merchant that sells purging stone. And then I realized, oh shit, I accidentally hit her because I thought she was an enemy, and she was mad at me permanently, so I couldn't buy it. Hello, Blanks.
No. Blanks, what's up, dude? Welcome in.
And, and then I had to run my ass all the way to the guy. I forget his name, but he's on the top of the bell tower by the bell gargoyles, and you pay him to forgive your sins. But then at that point in the game, I think as you progress, you need to pay him more souls. And then I had to grind for souls to buy a purging. Oh my god. It's so mean. That game is so mean.
I did do that. I remember
Yeah.
having to go to that guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh god.
brutal. All right. Is there any more questions in the queue?
Let's see. So Goat actually asked, does Soulsborne have a future in esports?
Oh yeah, I did see that a while ago. That is a very interesting question.
Yeah.
And the short, I mean, the real, like, I don't know. That's the short answer. But I do know that Team Hitless has I believe they just became like a company, an LLC.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly what all that means. I do know what they have said is it opens up the possibility of holding more events, like maybe um, similar to TwitchCon, there would be a Hitless Con. Um, so I, I'm already seeing Team Hitless do a bunch of events just on Twitch. Like they would do tournaments, zero hit tournaments, races. Um, that being said, Souls is still, as much as we love them, it's still very niche. And
Yeah.
hopefully, EldenRing has helped bring it, catapult it to the mainstream. But when I went to TwitchCon this past October in San Diego, there was very little to none Souls content. Everyone was focused on more, um, let's say, Apex or Fortnite or Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, those types of games. I was seeing, yeah, they would hold tournaments in the I forget the arena, the esports arena, whatever they were calling it, and it would always be those games. Dark Souls, FromSoft games were not really represented there, aside from the random art booth that I would run into that had some Souls arts. I didn't really see much from software representation there. And so
Mm.
in a grander scale, like at a TwitchCon, I don't really see it having that big of an audience. Maybe though, um, with Team Hitless becoming an LLC, maybe they will hold events like that. They could do in person or um, like in person races or no hit. Yeah, it's kind of weird too because the way other runners compete with each other is not the same as in like Call of Duty or Fortnite. You don't you don't fight each other in the same way. I know Elden Ring is, I think, trying to change that with their arena PvP.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a possibility with Elden Ring in the future. Or yeah, potentially with no hit runs or speed runs too, like live speed runs. Like Blanks is a big speed runner. Maybe Blanks could um, give some input on that because I don't really know the speedrunning world very well. I do enjoy watching them, like watching Blanks do it and Goofball too. Um, it is fascinating to me to watch that because it is, I don't really see people play the game that way ever, and I don't play the game that way, so it's interesting to me.
I
So
wonder.
anyway, Goat, I don't know if there's going to be a future of esports, but there's the potential for the Souls games.
Yeah. I think I feel like there's, to your point, with Elden Ring, there's definitely a possibility now. Like the door has kind of creaked open a little bit. Um, but I think that also to your point that it's gonna come from, you know, organizations and people together in the community, putting on events and stuff like that to
Yeah.
get these games out there to that kind of level. It is interesting too because you mentioned like Apex and COD and like the sizes of those communities. It makes sense from a business standpoint to
Mm-hmm.
target
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yeah.
But when I think about community, like I don't, I don't know. Like yeah, they've got huge events and stuff like that, but I don't feel the same sense of community.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I do think Zay dropped another question. So did DFZ. Uh, you could think of one. What would be a unique mechanic that you would like to see in a new Soulsborne game? If you can't think of one, what is an existing unique mechanic you would like to keep seeing in new Soulsborne games? Those are
Interesting.
really good questions, eh?
What would I like to see? Um, I mean, Elden Ring kind of added what I was hoping for a long time is like a dedicated jump button. I actually Sekiro did that because jumping in Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne is so shitty, where you have to run and then hit the same damn button, and it's also the dodge button. Um, and then they switched it to the left analog stick, like pushing that down. So shit. I'm glad they moved that to its own dedicated button. Um, Anything else I would change? I don't know. I don't know if I'm really looking for a new mechanic. I'm pretty content with where they've taken the series. Can you think of anything, Retro?
Uh, Sekiro left button attack. Just throwing it out there. Uh, no, I don't. I don't know. Like
Oh,
I don't know if
hmm.
I'm well versed enough to really have any major gripes. I mean, hitboxes, I feel, can always use some adjustments. But I also
Yeah,
feel like that feels stronger some days than others.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe because Sekiro was built as a single player experience. What if they made Sekiro in like the style, like they adapted more, they added more Souls things to it. Like you can build your own character, you can co-op, you can PvP, but all in the world of Sekiro, where it's way faster, and you have deflects. I don't know if that would work. There must be a particular reason why they kept that as a single solo experience. Like, do you feel if Sekiro had the opportunity to co-op, do you feel it would benefit?
Hmm. I feel like the deflecting. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, it was designed to be a solo playthrough. So yeah, Zay, it may break Sekiro to co-op. But what if they added the deflect
It would
system?
kill the uniqueness of the game. Yeah, I feel like it would be really difficult to have two people deflecting the same enemy. I feel like it
Yeah.
would be very unbalanced very quickly, just from
Hmm.
that alone.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I would add to the Soul series moving forward. I would add Bloodborne 2. Give me that. Give me that game. Although that is a tough one too. Like, how can it live up to Bloodborne? Hmm.
I can't remember if it was you or somebody else in chat the other day mentioned a, yeah, there we go. Shocky said it. Bloodborne with Sekiro elements to it.
Oh, Bloodborne with some Sekiro elements. That would be interesting too. Oh, you are working on a Souls-like. Okay. I'm trying to think of other Souls-likes that see what they bring to the table. Like Nio has or Neo has the key pulse feature to it. The different stances. I don't know. I'm pretty pleased with the mechanics in the Souls games. Good weapon variety, attack variety.
Yeah, it's like the the only thing that doesn't already have some kind of solution to it is just the lack of options in Sekiro. Like even Bloodborne, like the farming for vials is no longer, like as soon as you learn about the dungeon, like it's no longer an issue. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but Sekiro, it is what it is. And there was no DLC, no nothing that they did with that game. Wow, that's interesting.
I'm also pretty simple with my builds. Like my first
Yeah,
Elden Ring playthrough was just me and a stick. I didn't.
or our
They
hands.
yeah. They
We already had
added
one.
like all this cool armor, these cool weapons, this whole entire crafting system. It's just like just give me a stick and I'm just gonna beat things with it.
Blake says give him 10 minutes and he'll come up with stuff. On the spot stuff though. Like having some sort of weapon system. Sin-
Hey Rager, welcome in. Hello Gravy.
Rager, Gravy.
Yeah. Since as much as I like
Um,
Elden Ring, I did prefer the traditional non-open worlds of the other games. Yeah, it was pretty cool that they took it the open world direction. I know it could be overwhelming to some, but it is also pretty good for new players to the series. I feel, especially because like with many of the Souls games, you're kind of on rails and you hit a wall and you just have to beat that boss to progress. But like Elden Ring, it's like, okay, this boss kicked my ass. I can go far around and explore this area. And oh, hey, look, a cave. And so many other options you can do and come back to that original boss that was kicking your ass. Um, yeah, in some ways, the open world was good. Hey, Tivo.
yeah. I don't know if I would have been able to get through it if it wasn't for that part.
Yeah.
Um, so TFZ is curious if you could give a piece of advice to aspiring challenge runners, not just hitless runners, what would it be?
Oh, yeah. I've kind of already touched upon this, but I will say it again. It's very important that
Oh shit, I'm getting
oh,
ready to.
shy.
Shy, oh my god. Hello, hello, Raiders. Welcome
Hello,
in.
shy.
Happy
Welcome in,
Sunday.
Raiders. How was Dead Space?
Yeah,
Wow, look at all these
so many cuties in
cuties.
chat.
So many. Oh my god, shy. Amazing, amazing streamer, human being. We've
Seriously.
talked about this at length and how Shy is just so wholesome and so kind, so giving to everyone in her community.
Please go
So
follow Shy if
supportive.
you're not
Yeah.
already.
Hell yeah. Super
Thank you guys for the
supportive.
follows too.
Doing good,
We're good,
Shy.
Shy. We're having a really awesome chat. Um, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. We're both kind of like talking about being nervous beforehand. Not nervous because of each other, but just the situation, and it's turned out exactly like we thought it would, which is fun and easy, and so it's good to see you though. I hope Dead Space went well. Seem to be having tons of fun with it. Shy is too
Yeah.
nice.
Shy is super nice. Always apologetic. Not always, but like sometimes apologizes for things when it's like, it's okay, Shy. Stop being so sweet and wholesome.
Thank you so much for the raid, Shy. You need to go to the bathroom, go get food, go get water, do whatever you need to do. Um, we're just chatting about all sorts of different stuff. So we'll be chilling.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you, I think you were just about to start answering that question, which for those that just hopped in, if you could give a piece of advice to aspiring challenge runners, not just hitless runners, what would it be?
Yeah. Yeah. I did touch upon this earlier, but I cannot stress how important this is. And I think it's not talked about enough. Not talked about enough. Is just be ready for the mental aspect and the mental challenge of it. Um, of course, there's the game that's actually hard and the game that's challenging. Whatever challenge run that you aspire to attain, but just be ready for the mental part because you're likely going to go through times where you doubt yourself and go through times of um, I'm not good enough. You're gonna think there's no way I can do this, or you know this has taken me, like if you've already started your journey even and you're thinking this boss, this level, whatever, has taken me so long. Other gamers have probably gotten through this faster than me. All that stuff, all that self-doubt. And I this happens to me too. With whatever I do. Just be ready for that and just know that it'll be okay and that you are good enough. And at the end of the day, the challenge run is for you and you alone. So you shouldn't think about what others think about your run. Don't think about how, others may view your run. You do your run at your own pace and believe in yourself. And if you need to walk away from it, that's okay too. Just just thinking about doing challenge runs is still a big step. It's still a big thing. Um, and like I said before too, just going through your first playthrough of a game can also be a challenge in and of itself. A lot of these games are super hard, and it's okay. Um, it's okay if you don't succeed right away, but just know that you're going to be going through a lot of moments of mental games, and dealing with that is, I think, it's one of the toughest things that I've gone through in my journey. It's just like thinking of, damn, damn, Pete, you're not good enough, or you'll never get through this, or this is taking so long. What if you never get through it? Um, just keep at it, believe in yourself. And if you need to step away, that's fine too. It's your run, it's your challenge. You do what is best for your mental health, you do what is best for you. And um, yeah, whatever you happen to do, TFC, or whoever is aspiring to do any challenge run, just know that you'll have a lot of supportive people behind you. Because as Retro has said, this community is super supportive, and we just all want to lift each other up, and we all want to see each other succeed. And that support is very helpful. And sometimes it can be hard to listen to it. And what I mean by that is sometimes people say you're doing great, and in my head it's like, no, I'm not, but keep at it, and just be ready for it too. And prepare yourself mentally for whatever you aspire to do. So yeah, anyway, to wrap that up, I'm kind of rambling a little bit. To wrap that up,
No, you're not.
any challenge runner out there listening right now, whether it's the beginning of your journey or the middle of it or wherever you are, just know that whatever you've done up to this point is amazing. Not many people even start playing these games, and just go in if you want to have some fun. Just go into, if you have PlayStation or whatever, Steam. Just look at the achievements. Rin reminded me about this the other day, and I'm thankful to her for this. She reminded me of the percentage of people that have just beaten the first boss in Bloodborne. I'm like, that's interesting. I go in there myself and look at all the trophies, and there's Father Gascoigne, there's Cleric Beasts, so on and so forth, and I look at the percentages and see how many people have actually just gotten that far. And so just even beating the game, or just beating one boss, or getting past an area is a success. So no matter how long it takes you, just know that you are good enough. Doesn't matter how long it takes you. You are good enough, and you have a bunch of homies supporting you. And if it ever becomes too much and you need to walk away, and that's okay too. So don't be afraid to dip your feet in. If you need to back out, it's fine too. You can always come back to it. And if you never come back to it, that is also okay. As long as you're happy, as long as your mental health is good to go, you do what you need to do. And just know that, I'm proud of you already for just even thinking about a challenge run. And that's what I got to. That's my one piece of advice. I know I talked a lot, but that's my advice for managed runs. Managed runs, challenge runs.
You're awesome, Pete.
No, you.
I speak for all of chat. You are seriously, like, we're lucky to have somebody like you, and honestly, everybody as a community, we're all super lucky to have one another. I couldn't help but think at a certain point in there, you're talking about how, you have to do challenge runs for you, and how much that translates to so many other things. Like if you choose to make a decision for somebody else and not for yourself, how that can, eventually bite you in the ass. And the cool thing that came to mind is that you have to decide to do these runs for you and you alone, but
Yes.
it doesn't mean that you have to do them alone, which I think is the big thing that for me, like, the mental is so much of that comes down to like uh feeling like because of my lack of performance that people will, you know, they'll leave and then I'll be in this run on my own. Um
Hmm.
and that has not been the case at all at any point. Um
Yeah.
so it's interesting.
I don't think I've ever really seen that happen. Out of all the challenge runs that I've, you know, been a part of as a viewer, whether it be you retro, whether it be shy, dead, um, people always show up. People always show up to be supportive, no matter how long it's been, no matter how you're doing that particular day, no matter how you've done the past however many days. People show up and are still supportive and still want to be there for you and still want to see it, still want to see you succeed. And yeah, I get that too. It's just like I've been running this run for X amount of days. It's like uh people still want to see me do this thing again, but no, we do. We really do. Like your fire giant fight, your monkey fight, your Sekiro monkey fight, Shy's orphan fight, Dahlia did BL4 too. Just like all these different
Cheats
runs.
run. Yeah.
Cheat. Oh my god, yeah, cheat. His run, I don't know how long it lasted, but like over 160 something attempts or something.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, people still show up for it, no matter how long it takes, and that's awesome to see. Awesome to see so many supportive homies. Um, yeah, you make a very good distinction of like, yes, the runs are for you and you alone, but yes, you don't have to do them alone. That's awesome that you said that, because that's important too. Um, but yeah, um, TFC says, screw it. I'm going to continue trying it. Fuck yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yes. I support you. Whatever run you want to do. Yeah. No matter what it is, no matter the level of challenge, we all love to see each other do these things and succeed in the end. We all want to see each other succeed in the end.
Yeah, and to Blanks's point too, I'm just kind of scanning through the chat. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I personally could recommend that has helped me a ton over the last 6 7 months is exactly what Blank said, which is just reaching out and spending time in the communities that interest you. Like if you enjoy Souls games or you enjoy challenge runs or you enjoy Apex, like um the more time you can spend in the things that interest you, the more uh I don't know. For me, the more you're going to feel confident in what you're doing, the more you're going to believe in yourself, the more likely success will come your way. um yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very good point. Very good point, Blanks. Yeah, I didn't really. I'm glad you pointed that out because I have uh, I have been a Hitless Run viewer for a long time, enjoyer for a few years, I'd say, and so just being a part of the communities as a viewer it was very helpful because like yeah, when I started it was in complete foreign territory. Um, so yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah, so
It is interesting.
if I ever try speed running, I should probably spend more time in speedruns uh, channels. Um, yeah, good point.
It's making sense now why I decided to try some.
Yeah.
I'm blaming you.
I'll take the blame. That's fine.
Pete out here about to make us cry. Hey, Guten Tag. Good to see you. Okay, let me see. So that's it for the questions that we have from chat. But um, yeah, I think being able to have conversations like this more often, um, not saying that it has to be the two of us or, but I think just being able to have conversations like this within the community is be really really helpful for a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
we're kind of like already in it, so
Hmm.
we have that luxury, that perspective. But I think there's a lot of people that haven't quite gotten there. And um, I don't know, what do you guys think, chat? Think this is something we can probably do more often? And I mean, there's so many amazing people in the community that um, obviously, like Blank, Shy, like people that I think would be really fun to chat with and just have that different medium, if that makes sense.
Yeah. TFC says the world's first DS1 mixed between zero damage and hitless, zero damage from all enemies and bosses, all boss plus DLC, max difficulty NG plus 7, and no fast rolling allowed. Have to be in a full set of gear. Dude, that is
Ouch.
amazing. Oh, your two okay. Your two bosses from okay. That's not
That's
too
awesome.
far off. Yeah, keep at it, TFC. And if you need, yeah, like I said, if you need to take some time away from it, definitely do it. Welcome
Yeah,
back, Shocky. Speaking of internet dying, this this entire stream almost didn't happen because my internet died at 2:30 Pacific time. And my ISP said, "Oh, it'll be back in an hour." So I went off and farted around in the real world, touched a little bit of grass, went to Costco, and I think my entire neighborhood just got Comcasted because, oh my God, trying to find a parking spot at my local Costco was ridiculous today. That place was packed. I think a lot of people have the same idea because there's not even anything particular to shop for today. There's no big football game to watch. The Super Bowl is next week. It's like, why aren't all these people here? And it's like, oh, right, because I'm here too. I don't have an internet. And then when I got back home, internet was still out. So I popped in a DVD and I watched Face Off, which happens to be
Nice.
my wife and I's first movie that we watched together in the theaters. So it's almost like our first date, but we weren't alone. My sister was there and her friend was there. And so we watched Face Off.
That's awesome.
Many years later, watching it now, it's a little bit like I said, some of these old movies have are a product of their time. They're a little cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
But I still enjoyed all the cornball delivery and Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. Oh my God, when he goes hard, it's so fun to see.
Yeah. Did you see Mandy? I feel like we talked about this.
I did. Oh my God, that's I feel like that movie was made for him,
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
his over the top performance fits so well in that type of movie. I loved it.
You have to have an over the top movie for an over the top actor. Otherwise, it's just
Exactly. Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that he just goes for it. whether or not it works. There's like a fine line between, um, uh, acting at an intense level, and if you just go a little too far, you're like overdoing it, overacting, and that just takes it all the way around to bad acting. And he just dances that line, goes up and down, uh, over and under that line all the time. But I appreciate his his uh his attempts, and just never compromising, and always just, I'm fucking going for it. I don't care. Love it. I'll take
Uh,
any role any day, and I'll just go for it.
it's like
Um
looking into a mirror, but not gold dialogue.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, so cheesy. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, internet something. Oh yeah, Shocky. Welcome back. Sorry your internet died. But yeah, I think going back to what you said about having this chat on your channel, um, I think it's good. I personally would be interested in seeing, other members of the community, if they so desire, if they do want to do a chat similar to this, seeing if Shy did this, or you mentioned Shy and Blanks, and um, like Cooley,
Yeah,
anybody I see here,
Cooley be
Zay,
Shocky.
yeah, Jockey,
He may
TFC,
may have just already mentioned Shocky. But
yeah, maybe not Vehan, but everyone else is cool. I would be interested in seeing it, because like, seeing people in this format is very interesting. Like, people on their own streams, um, um, I don't know. You get pieces of them, but it's not this type of format. So having it more formalized, so to speak.
well,
Uh,
that's what I love so much about you and Vehan. Like, just it's very easy to just hang out in your guys's streams that you do together.
mhm.
And the you're getting two awesome creators at one time, which is hard to beat. So um, I'm you're awesome. I'll say that much. So we're 50% of the way there. Um, but yeah, it just I agree. It's a different medium, and it allows for just a different light, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Um,
I I I bag on Vehan all the time, but it's because we're homies. If y'all don't
yeah,
know, we've been very, very good friends, BFFs, for like 30 plus years, and so we know each other well. And to give you a little background as to how the Vehan Peet stream started, it's
yeah,
kind of just a product of the two of us finding a way to connect during the pandemic, during the shutdowns, lockdowns. Granted, uh, before then, we didn't see each other all the time because we live a few hours apart. Um, so it was not like we saw each other every day, and then, oh no, the shutdown, the pandemic lockdown prevented us from seeing each other. But anyway, we wanted to find a way to connect. Um, we would chat, over the interwebs often, but eventually I convinced him to play Dark Souls with me, because I think he was um, struggling a little bit with the game, shall we say. And so I convinced him to play with me. Um, and some jerk gave me Dark Souls for the Switch. Yep. Because I got it from him for the Switch specifically because he had a very long commute to work, and he took a bus ride that probably took an hour or maybe more. And so I wanted to give him some extra entertainment on his way or to or from work, you know. And so I bought it on the Switch as well, and we played it together on the Switch, and we would just call each other up on, I think it was Facebook Messenger at the time, and then eventually on Discord. I just play the games together and just chat and just catch up with each other. It's like, hey, dude, what you been up to? What you got going on? Um, how's the wife? How's the fam? Just catch up on everything. And so eventually when he started streaming, once he got more comfortable with it, and we did a test run of having me on his channel. I was not streaming at the time, and we screwed around with Dauntless, which is like a free to play Monster Hunter clone, and then eventually just transitioned into playing Souls. And TiVo did find us playing Bloodborne. And I will say TiVo is responsible for connecting us to Way and that whole crew. Anyway, I digress. Behan and he brought me in to stream with him, and we would do exactly what we did offline, which was just play Souls games and just chat. And it just became sort of like an informal podcast with like Souls gaming on the side, you know. And we've been doing that for a few years. And yeah, credit where credit is due. Behan pushed me into streaming myself on my own channel, and I guess the rest is history. But yeah, shout out to you, Behan. I don't say it enough, but I do appreciate Behan a lot. I do owe him a lot. I wouldn't be where I am right now without him. So appreciate you, Behan. Love you, dude.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Vehan. Thank you for bringing us the Peet. And I hope you have a good night, Queen. Thank you for joining us. You owe Vey at least 1 feet.
All right, I'm gonna slide into Vehan's DMs later. Don't you worry.
Also, Vehan can solve a Rubik's Cube in 10 seconds. What? Sounds good, TFC.
Yeah. All right,
so
so
you introduced us. Wait, introduced a bunch of us to both of them. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I met Way rated me one time. I was just starting to stream, and he rated me. And he brought Manda in, Tifo, of course, and Chalky, and Wolfie. So grateful to TiVo for that connection. We are getting about 20 minutes until my usual shutting down for the night. I do want to talk about one more thing before we adjourn, and it's something I alluded to earlier when package deal. Well, Vehan and I are also a package deal. So when I was talking about Breath of the Wild being one of my favorite games of all time, that is not a Souls game, right? And so when I finished Breath of the Wild, I was like, I need more. I need something more. I need a game to play now. There's always that, like you said, that feeling of finishing a game that you just love and you spend so much time on. It's like, what do I do now? I just start rummaging through my cabinet, my backlog, and then out pops this game on PS3 called Demon Souls. And this was probably, so I will also say I'm fairly new to the Souls games relatively compared to when they came out, right? So This was, I think, 2019-ish. When I maybe 2018 when I found this dusty copy of Demon Souls on the PS3. Still shrink wrapped though. And I'm fairly certain Vehan gave it to me years ago. The game came out in maybe 2008. And then it's probably my birthday or something. I opened this game and he essentially says, "Have fun with that shit." And it's like, okay, fine. I put it away in my backlog of shame. Don't touch it for many years. And I finally crack open the shrink wrap, pop it into my PS3, and then within like 30 minutes to an hour of playing it, I immediately go to Vehan like, what the fuck is this game you gave me? I've been playing this game for an hour and I've gotten nowhere. This game sucks. It's bullshit. And he essentially says, yeah, the game's like that. But I don't know what it was. Something about it kept me coming back. And I finally beat that, that first boss. And it's like, oh my God, finally. And then you hit more walls and I hit more walls. And I stumble my ass through the game. I have no idea how to play it. I have no idea how the mechanics work. Kind of wish I was like on Twitch streaming this, because then chat could have just piled in there and said, hey, you should do this or you should do that. My assumption was, I think I chose the knight as my starting class, or someone with heavy as armor. So all my rolls were super slow. So I thought, that's a useless mechanic. Why is this in the game? So I used my shield to block everything. Eventually that stops working. I hit a boss that blocking was not going to get me anywhere. And then I go online and read that you should do the rolling. Like, rolling? The fuck? My character like does that fat ass roll that goes so slow, it's useless. And then anyway, eventually I work my way through it. I choose different armor. I somehow get through this game. I still to this day, that first playthrough was so scuffed, but I finished it. And then I start playing Dark Souls. I'm like, okay, I have the experience from Demon Souls. This game's gonna be fine. This game's gonna be easier. And fuck no, it's not. I said before, I get to Blighttown. I get so frustrated, get so lost, get poisoned over and over, get toxic, get killed, so on and so forth. That I get so mad, I have to put the game down for maybe a month. And that's, as I said before, I ended up playing Hollow Knight in that gap. Then I came back to Dark Souls, made my way through the game. Things were starting to click, things were starting to connect. And then I reached Ornstein and Smo. That boss destroyed me so hard. But when I finally beat that boss, felt so good, felt so triumphant. And then, yeah, I make my way through that game. But Dark Souls is a game where the Souls series started to connect. I started to understand more, um, like dodging and more mechanics of the game, and the ONS fight, and how being patient and not just spamming the R1 button is the way to go with these games. And then I went on to DS2, and then DS3, and then I think Demon Souls Remake, and then Bloodborne. Those two are kind of like together. And then Sekiro, and then EldenRing, and this is where I am now. And that's how I got into the Soul series, kind of via Breath of the Wild, kind of a weird way into it, and started with an old ass game that Vehan gave me many years ago. So all of this is Vehan's fault. Everything. from me playing these games, from me being on Twitch, from me streaming them, for me doing challenge runs. It's all you, Vehan. It's all your fault. But thank you for being the catalyst for me playing these games. Um, yeah, and that's where I am today. And I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be doing any sort of crazy runs like these. And I'm having a good time, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And I just hope, I hope, anything I've said today has been helpful for anyone else out there, whether they're playing their first Souls game or whether they're veterans. I hope something was of value. I think maybe your wife shouldn't hear that story. That's okay. It's not like this is recorded, Vehan. Don't worry about it. Peet the legend. And I'm been so fortunate, just like you, Retro, to meet so many good people here on this platform. And I'm very glad to have met you. And thank you for having me on. This was a good time. This was fun. And yeah, I appreciate you and your channel and what you're trying to achieve and what you're doing. A lot of people say this, or they think just being on Twitch is playing video games. I know it's a big part of it, but it's so much more than that. It's hard to explain. Like, I get this comment all the time where it's like, I talk about Twitch to certain people in my life, and they're like, "Oh, so you're just playing video games?" I'm like, yeah, but and then I started talking about, how I went to TwitchCon to the same person and how I met up with streamer friends. And she just has this weird dismissive attitude about the whole thing. But really, this platform has been, although not perfect, has helped make or give me a lot of connections to other people. Some I've never met in real life, like you, Retro. Some I have met, like Wei and Amanda, AJ and Spoonie, who I've met in person. I will tell you, all those people are just as genuine and wholesome and nice in real life. So, it makes me happy and gives me hope that, like, not all internet people are weirdos. And so if and when we meet in real life, Retro, I'm sure we'll hit it off, and I'm sure you're just as nice and genuine in real life. And anybody hanging out in your channel, I feel like I can be homies with them too, because if you're homies, if you're a friend of Retro's, you're a friend of mine. And thank you for everything you've done so far with your channel. I can't wait to see where you go with it, whatever it may be. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pete. That was super kind. And yeah, it's funny, once again going back to our conversation pre-stream of having the nerves, and we're kind of closing things off, and I don't think that I could have pictured this going any better than it did. Although I will say I want to do a better job next time of actually acknowledging chat. I feel like I've just been totally ignoring all of them all night.
I know, I feel bad about that too.
I still love all of you guys. I hope you know that. But
yeah.
But yeah, it just being able to have a cool, authentic conversation, that's that's just you and I, but also we're getting some questions in there. Just it was really cool. Um, and I've learned a lot from you already over the last number of months, but uh, yeah, I appreciate you a ton. You're somebody I look up to uh, in all of this, and um, chat's playing sound alerts in my ear. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to see where you go with your hitless journey and your challenge journey overall. Hopefully, hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'll be open to it. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, and thank you for wishing me luck. And oh, this pyramid! Oh my god, so good.
Let's go, Cooley.
Yeah, I look forward
Anchovy.
to. Really look forward to seeing where I can go on my journey as well. I don't know how far it's gonna go. I don't know how far I'm going to take it. Um, but for now, foreseeable future, I'm still having fun with it, and that's key. You know, if I ever feel like another point of advice I should have thought of, but if I ever feel like I hate the game, um, that is probably a sign, a bad sign. I should, probably take a break, take a breather from it. I always want this to be fun, and for the most part, it is. It is frustrating at times. It's Dark Souls. What are you gonna do? It's gonna be frustrating, but um, I've seen this happen in front of my eyes where a person starts to challenge one, and they start getting really frustrated and mad and hating the game that they love. That's not a spot I ever want to be in. So
Yeah.
as long as not only me, as long as you, Retro, you chat, anybody, as long as you are having fun, that's all that, that's what matters. But don't end up resenting the thing you love. Um, although we all resent it a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Amanda, and that is perfectly okay. Um, if it makes you hate the game, if it makes you frustrated with it, it is okay to walk away from it and to play it the way you love to play it. That's all fine too. Um, yeah, hope we can do this again sometime. And yeah, I look forward to your challenge run journey as well, whatever you end up doing, Retro. Thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, of course, Pete. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Get good sleeps. I'm sure I'll probably catch you at some point later on today.
Yeah. Yeah, chat. Know you. That's all I gotta say.
Appreciate you. That's good. Uh,
Yeah, I will say one
yeah.
more time that chat, we are reading these, even though we're not always uh responding. And I appreciate each and every chat that has rolled by here. Ah, Crumbs, just in
Crumbs.
time.
Welcome in. Good
How are
morning.
you? Oh yeah, speaking of another streamer that I enjoy watching on their
Yeah.
first playthrough. What a fun time.
Oh, shit. Hope you had a good weekend, Crumbs. Hope you've been enjoying Dead Space. Are you that's super random last question. Are you thinking of playing Dead Space, Pete? Does that have any that's something you're interested in at all?
That is definitely something that I'm interested in, but once again, we go back to like
The
not
backlog.
enough times in the backlog. If I start a new playthrough, if I start a playthrough of it, will I even finish it? Because I'm like, I want to play Dark Souls. I have been seeing a bunch of people playing it. Gravy, Shy, Veyhan actually played Dead Space 1 and 2 before the remake came out. And it's been
Yeah,
a
that's right.
pleasure seeing his playthrough, but um, I do want to play it. Are you? You may fall into the same mind frame. Do you want to play it, or is it just more like Soulsborne?
No, I definitely do. I just I've got other games I've already purchased that are installed and ready to go, and um I do want to get through the FromSoft titles first
Yeah,
before I open that box. So
fair
yeah.
enough.
Um yeah. I thank you again, dude. I super appreciate it. I now we have a better idea of how this whole guest star thing works, so that's a big plus.
Yeah,
Um yeah, get some good sleep, and I don't know if you have work tomorrow, but if you do, good luck, gamer.
thank you. I do have work tomorrow. Um, yeah, you rest well as well, and I can't thank you enough for having me on. Thank you again.
Of course, Pete. That was fun. Holy shit. That was so much fun. Like what the heck? Uh Nobody's played that all night. Pete, thank you so much, dude. Oh my gosh.
Estus flask.
Me too, Shy.
Estus flask.
Is it true? Is it true? Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, it's true. Ooh. I do. Ooh.
Nope, no stranger than usual.
I was up really late last night making some weird shit. Pete, thank you so much, dude. That was seriously a ton of fun. Yeah, to your point, Zay, I would love to do that again. Shy, yes, I would love to do it again. Um, yeah, anybody that would be open to coming on and just chatting, I would love to do it. I know Scotty has mentioned having interest. Yeah, I'll probably make some posts in Discord uh about all of that. But um wow. Um I appreciate all of you a ton. It's really cool that we're able to do something like that, and I felt comfortable the entire time. There was no like weirdness or judginess or any of that stuff from anybody. I was judging. I judged it 10 out of 10. You're the best day.